LinkedIn Riches, episode 25.
A, B, C. A, always B, B, C, closing. Always be closing. Always be closing.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
I love it. All right, welcome back to the LinkedIn Riches podcast. My name is John Nemo, the creator of LinkedIn Riches. I'm so glad you're here today because I have an extra special episode for you. An incredible guest. You are going to love this. When I got done talking to Jairek Robbins on this interview on Skype, I was ready to run through a brick wall. I was so fired up, and you are going to be as well. So sit back, turn up your volume, get dialed in because he really brings the goods on so many different things, not only related to LinkedIn, but to selling and motivation and inspiration and career and business. Just tons of great topics that Jairek touched on. So without further ado, we're going to dive in. All right, I could not be more excited for today's special guest on the LinkedIn Riches podcast. It's Jairek Robbins, the one and only, the performance coach you have been looking for. This guy is amazing. I have to say, I went on his website and was watching the videos and getting so pumped up. And so it's obvious that he brings an energy and a passion, and I think more importantly, results that you can really use in your business. And that's why I was so excited to get him on the LinkedIn Riches podcast, because so much of our core audience is small business owners, consultants, coaches, trainers, sales executives, biz dev. And so, Jairek, I want to welcome you to the podcast.
Well, thank you. It's a privilege to be here.
Wonderful. So tell, for those that aren't familiar with you, tell me a little bit about kind of your background, your story, and kind of what you're up to right now as far as on the business side of things, what you're up to.
Oh, man. I was just asked this question. I was speaking at a leadership conference at Harvard University last Friday. And it's funny because they put me up on stage and I was on a panel for the first round, and they had a gentleman who's a 30-year professor at Harvard who wrote the book on leadership. They have me sitting there in the middle. The guy next to me is a lieutenant colonel for the U.S. Air Force in charge of all cyber command in the United States and worldwide. And the gentleman sitting next to him is a full-on colonel. and
no pressure. And you're
no
at Harvard.
Pressure.
And you're at Harvard. I feel like the Good Will Hunting scene where you're Matt Damon maybe, or Ben Affleck, right?
People are wicked smart here.
Wicked smart.
So I'm sitting on here, and they read this bio for the gentleman who's sitting to my right, and he's accomplished everything, built businesses, wrote the book on leadership, is the authority on the topic. They read the bio of the lieutenant colonel, and this gentleman's like climbed mountains and saved lives and rescued babies from burning buildings, like the most incredible human being you ever meet. Right. They read the full colonel bio, and it gets to me, and she says, "Well, would you like to introduce yourself?" And so I'm sitting here in front of this group, wicked smart people. They've all accomplished more than, most human beings on the earth will in their life. I'm sitting next to these individuals who are absolutely, the epitome of achievement and results. And I think about it. I'm like, listen, I could sit here and talk about everything I've done in my life because everyone's done something. And I said, I guess the best way to sum up who I am is I'm a lifelong learner. And my goal is to constantly go out and figure out what works. And I focus on a variety of topics. Most of them have to do with human psychology and performance. And my curiosity, my research is all on how do I get what works? How do I apply it in my own life and really get the actual tangible results it supposedly promised? Then if it works for me, how do I get it to work for other people around me? And if I can get them to do it and then I can step away and it continues to work in their life and increase performance and magnify productivity and give them a happier, healthier, more fulfilling life, perfect. Now I know what works, and now it's my duty and responsibility in my eyes to take that to as many people as humanly possible. So I've spent the last 14 years of my life literally repeating that process over and over and over again in a variety of subjects. And so my main business venture and what I'm focused on and doing is going out and constantly researching what works, testing it on my own life, testing it with my clients and all, the 100,000 people we work with every year via online and training programs and one-on-one coaching. And then from there, really honing it down into something that we can write about, we can publish, and then taking it out to the masses as best we can.
I love that, because I love that you're in the trenches. I mean, it's, that's one of the things that I think really for our audience listening, or maybe even reading about this too, like to be able to say this isn't just theory, I'm living it, and I'm out in the trenches with you, testing it, making sure I'm the guinea pig before I bring it to you. I think, would you agree that really builds, that know, like, and trust factor a lot more quickly, for business owners when we do it that way versus, well, I read a book on SEO, I think it'll work, you should try it, right?
Exactly. One of my friends, Gary Vaynerchuk, says this. It's someone who's gritty. Like, they know what it feels like to go through that process. They know they can look you toe to toe, eye to eye, man to man, or woman to woman, or whatever combination's there. But they can look you straight in the eye and say, listen, I've been there. Here's what you're going through. Here's what's about to happen. And I can help you prepare for that through real tangible experience. And so I'll give you a clue. There's some topics I research that I would never stand up and tell someone else about because I'm not there yet. I certainly know the studies, I know the book work, I know the research behind it, but there's no way I could talk someone about the topic from a real life experience because I haven't been there. At the same time, it's a weird combination where I've had many, many young guy clients get married, have a baby, and go through the first 3 months of your first child. I know how to prepare a young male client for that journey based on not my experience in this case, but coaching dozens of people through the exact same 3 months of life.
Yeah.
So that's the other piece is it's either my tangible experience of doing it, which again builds the know, like, and trust factor because people can look at my Instagram and see what's real. You can follow me on Snapchat and watch exactly how life unfolds. You can Google, LinkedIn and go through the whole profile. And I'm very transparent. I tend to be someone who splats it all out there and lets you decide who I am. I'm not trying to give you a highlight reel. I take pictures of me doing silly random stuff all day called work. and that's real. That's what I do all day. Like, I see these people like always on a beach somewhere. I'm like, listen, that's like the 30 seconds you were freaking there. What were you doing the rest of the trip? Where's you dragging bags through an airport, not sleeping on the damn plane?
Let's talk about that. The entrepreneur lifestyle, right? Because so much of what that hype is out there, and you're living it. Like, I mean, one of the things I would say for people that don't know Jairek is, like, I follow you, and you're jumping out of airplanes, you're trying stuff, you're living in Costa Rica, writing a book, which we're going to get to. You're, at conventions, you're speaking, you're on stage, you're working one-on-one behind the scenes, and people never even know, what you've done. How does that, for those of us out there, coaches, consultants, trainers, speakers, wanting to have, build an online platform, online presence. What's your best advice to do that? How transparent should you be versus professional? Especially, let's even take LinkedIn. How do we balance the personal and the professional with the branding that we want to do for ourselves online?
Sure. I'll start with one point that's really important to consider, and then I'll dive into this. The first point to consider is so many people are getting caught up in the vehicle and not paying attention to the message. Meaning they're so concerned with trying to be a speaker, to be a coach, to be an executive, to be an entrepreneur. They're trying to get this title or this position or role instead of focusing on what's the message, what is the piece of life, what the piece of value I'm trying to bring to life, and how do I find any vehicle on earth that allows me to bring that message to the world and to other people and use that vehicle. I don't care if I'm the face on the cover of the box or book or whatever it is that's taking the message, or I don't care if I'm the hidden secret person that no one knows about that got it to the person who was able to stand up on stage and share it with everybody. That doesn't matter to me as long as the message gets to the people who need it. And so when it comes to business, there's so many people right now, especially in the online space, who are so concerned with living the lifestyle, being the face, being the famous, being the expert. I would, either way, if you need me to be the expert, sure. If you need me to be the quiet guy in the background who just feeds the expert the information and makes them sound great, awesome. It doesn't matter as long as the message gets to the people who need it is in my mind. And if you start with that mindset first, as long as the value gets to the client who needs it, it doesn't matter if it's my face, your face, someone else's company, my company, doesn't matter. I just need it to get there. If that's the urgency, if that's the passion, if that's the driving force underneath it, now how transparent can you be? Who cares? Show them everything. because you're not trying to position yourself and pretend like you're this special, unique unicorn of a human being who everyone needs to pay attention to. You're just you.
Right.
And if you're the person that they can receive the message from, or they can receive the value from, or you're the person they want to buy the widget from, high five. They're going to come buy it. If you're not, who cares? As long as someone else gets it to them. And so when you take value off of trying to be famous and special and unicorn-like, and you put value on the end consumer getting the result that you dream for them to get, now what you share and doesn't share doesn't really matter. Now, I know there's professional, PR people who are going to go nuts over me saying stuff like this, and they don't like to hear that, and they coach their clients in the opposite, only share the best sides of who you are. But there's also a bigger life decision that goes under all of this. And this is a real broad one. Choose to live a life of being an example, and you won't have to worry what you show to the world. There's so many people out there. And, one of my fundamental beliefs is every human being you meet in life is either a warning or example. An example of what to do or a warning of what not to do. And the truth is the world needs both. There always needs to be warnings. So if you choose to be a warning, high five, have fun. And if you choose to be an example, good on you. But the underlying life decision is saying, hey, based on my dreams, my goals, what I'm up to, I'm going to choose to be an example of the healthiest, happiest, and most fulfilled version of what's possible. And at that point, share everything. It's out there. Like, take a peek, anything you want. I'm good with who I am. I think there's a lot of people who live alternative lives where out in public or on LinkedIn or in a professional way, they're one human being. But then when they take the mask off and get to be themselves, they're a totally different human being. And if you can get rid of the dualism and just integrate into a type of person you want to be that really represents your soul and heart and who you really are at the deepest level, you don't have to worry about what you're showing or not showing. You just show it all and people will see you're pretty cool all around.
I love it, man. I love it. And I've found for me, even just following that advice that I've heard you and others say is when you're able to just be more authentic, more real, share lessons learned, hey, maybe I fell flat on that product launch, but here's what I learned and how you can benefit as a result from, what I learned. People love that stuff because we want to have relatable characters in a story. Life is a story and we don't want to feel like someone is so above us and untouchable and we either don't trust them or we don't like them or we don't want to engage with them. So I love what you're saying, man. It's resonating. Now, let me ask you this. I know I want to get to the book because it is so good. Tell us about the book, about Live It, about kind of the core message and the value that it brings the audience. Because you've had some incredible results, some incredible testimonials. So I want people to know about that.
Awesome. I'll give you some background. So who am I, where it came from? I spent my whole life growing up in the personal development space. My first event was in my mom's belly. She was teaching people how to break through bricks with their bare hand as a representation of breaking through fears. Wow. 3 months old, I did a firewalk in my dad's arms. My godfather is John Grinder, who co-founded NLP. So I have this like crazy experience of growing up in this space of anything's possible. Write down your goals, chase them, model other people's success. I learned all these tools growing up, and they were kind of ingrained in me from the beginning. And so if you fast forward, I worked my first real job was for the Anthony Robbins Foundation. It was my dad's nonprofit. And I worked there just learning how to work. I was 18 years old. I was in college. This was my job. So I'd show up every day and work. And we did wonderful things. We fed the homeless every year between Thanksgiving and Christmas time. It was amazing. We fed up to, I think back then it used to be like a few million people a year. I know this last year they got up to, I think 4 million people through that. And then they also partnered with Feeding America and they did, I think, 104 million meals as a big donation for a project they were working on with Dad, the nonprofit, and Feed America. It was amazing. Wow. So they've done incredible things. They have things educating prisoners and helping bringing them back into society. They have youth programs. They have global initiatives. They're working on grant writing for big projects they believe in. It's amazing. They do one in India where they do, I think, hundreds of thousands of gallons a week or month to people in need of fresh, clean water. It's really, really, really beautiful. So that was my first couple of years of work. From there, I remember loving the nonprofit side, the giving, the sharing, the making a difference in people's lives part. But I didn't so much love the paycheck.
That's awesome.
and it's kind
Hold on,
of
I'm not done laughing. No, that was great. Go ahead. Sorry.
There's a seriousness to it. Like
I love it. It's real life. It's real life.
It's real life. I think people who do nonprofit work should get paid the most. Like they're just helping people.
Yeah.
But that's not how it
true.
works.
No, it's not.
No. And so, I learned quickly. I'm like, dang, I love my heart, my soul, my mission and who I am is making a difference in other people's lives. But I kind of want to have a really cool life too. And that requires some funding. And Dad made it clear from the beginning. He'll help you through school. And after that, you're on your own. The rule with money is don't ask. and so I was like, okay, shoot, I'm going to have to figure this out. And I'm glad, but it's also like, oh, shoot, I got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And so I got to a point where I decided to go work for the for-profit side of the business, walked across the way, and the department there that was available or that I knew someone in was the coaching department. Now, these people, they handpick them. They have to have extraordinary results in their life to even be considered as a coach. They then get 250 hours of training plus an ongoing yearly, monthly training every single month to become, the most educated and trained version of who could possibly be there. So I think she was humoring me. Her name was Charlotte. And I said, hey, could I be a coach? I was 18 at the time. And she goes, well, sure you can. And I think she was just being nice. And I was like, no, seriously, like, can I work on this side?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, we'd have to have you take the exam. We'd have to look at what you're doing. We'd have to, train you properly and do all this stuff. And so for the next so many months of my life, I went through all the training, took all the tests, passed everything. And they gave me some trial clients. I landed up doing very well in trial clients. And I had a topic I was very good at this stage of life. So I was very young. But what I was good at was time management. I was good at taking many, many, many things going on in life. So multiple classes, personal stuff, health stuff, emotional stuff, business stuff, everything going on in a million directions and narrowing it all down into a very succinct system to get results. And so I was able to take other professionals and my very first, clients I got, I'll go back. So I worked for them for a few years and they had me coaching on average between, 25 to 35 people a month. So I had to use all the skills I knew because I was going to school full time, in between classes, sprinting back to my room, doing coaching calls in between sessions, helping people maximize their performance and time management, and then sprinting back to class to go, and then studying at night. And that was kind of my college years. In college, I did a unique opportunity, which was semester at sea, which took me to Vancouver, Japan, China, Hong Kong, Thailand, India, Vietnam, Tanzania, South Africa, Venezuela, Brazil, Venezuela, and then up to Florida. So literally circumnavigated the globe on a ship with 600 other students and professors on board teaching classes. And it was a 110-day journey. Absolutely changed my life. Every country had its own little awareness that I talk about in the book of what I learned from the people. I was studying psychology on board, so I would study, the difference between a collectivist culture versus an individualist culture, and then walk into the culture of China and go, wow, it really is this way. So I got to literally have hand-on practice of what I was learning as far as psychology and performance and understanding other human beings. When I got to East Africa, my heart was opened in a way that just really, really blew me away. I felt like I met people who were so alive and so passionate and so just vibrant in life, yet had so little resources. And I felt like I came from a place with such abundance in Southern California that I needed to do something. I couldn't just sit there and know that they're there, send them money, but I needed to physically show up and help. So I dedicated the next 3 months through a volunteer organization called Student Partnership Worldwide. Now it's called Restless Development. They updated the name. But I packed up, moved to Uganda, and for 3 months lived in a rural farming village teaching organic farming so I could hands-on make a difference in their community. And in this village, there's no running water, no electricity, no toilets, and we had to find a way through influence, through know, like, and trust, through connectivity without the internet, to walk around and convince farmers and other people that we knew what we were talking about, we had something of value to share, and we could deliver it to them in that moment and produce real value for them. And we had to do that for 3 months. We walked around and did this constantly, village to village to village, and helped as best we can. And from there, came back. I had a bout with malaria a few times that I talk about, where at one point I got told I had 3 days left to live, or 6 days left to live.
Yeah, I've heard that story. That's an incredible story.
Yeah, it was intense. You know, when you're 22 years old, you never expect a doctor to stare you in the face and tell you might have 6 days left.
Yeah, it was a nice run, Jairek. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just getting started. I had dreams and visions and bucket lists of stuff I wanted to do with my life. And so at this point, I'm sitting there scratching my head, being like, 6 days? Oh, geez. And I tell a really entertaining story in the book of my call home to mom and dad and the different advice they gave and what I ended up doing. Obviously, I survived. I mean, this was almost a decade ago now, but I share their advice and what happened, and it was pretty entertaining.
And by the way, you got to buy the book just for that story. It's that good. So there's my little plug. Don't tell my audience. I want them to buy the book because it is such a great story. But anyway, so tell me more. I mean, take me through, and I know we're gonna run out of time, so I want to get to this, but the core kind of takeaways, because you've lived so much in such a short amount of time. What are the core takeaways for people when they dive into this book and into what you've discovered about really what makes people tick?
Sure. So here's what's crazy. I'll fast forward the rest of the story real quick. So I came back, finished up school, went and worked for dad for 2 years. It's something I didn't necessarily love doing. I wasn't passionate about, but I found a way to get myself to love it. Because there's always, and this is the golden nugget for people, there's always moments in life where you're going to be put in a situation that you don't necessarily like doing what you have to do. You don't love it. It's not fun. It doesn't excite you. It doesn't feel like your passion in life. And if you can't get yourself to hunker down, focus, and get through it, you're going to be in trouble. There's a millennial generation and these young people who get hit on this for all the time, where if it's not fun, if it's not exciting, if it's not their passion, they're not interested. And that's a problem. And so one thing I wrote about is how I figured out how to fall in love with hard work, how to fall in love with the grind, how to fall in love with that moment where it's like, ugh, I don't like this. But if I can train myself to love something even that I don't like, oh man, that's powerful. I mean, that puts you as one of the elite human beings on this planet who can get yourself to step up and deliver. If you're talking about leadership, the first level of leadership is, can you lead yourself?
Yeah.
Can you convince yourself to step up and do what you say, when you say it, how you say you're going to do it? And the second level, I'll give you a little piece on leadership here, just a little bonus nugget. But first level is, can you do it for yourself? Second, can you get another person to do it? Do you have the skill set it takes to get one other human being while you're standing next to them to step up, show up, and deliver like they said? Now, third level leadership, will they continue doing it even when you're not there? Can you get through to them in such an effective way that even when you're not standing next to them, they continue to do it again and again and again and again? And finally, the fourth level of leadership, can you get through to them so effectively that even they start getting through to other people? And so this first level of leadership, in the book I talk about it, I had to get myself to show up and deliver even when it was uncomfortable and not exciting or fun anymore. And so there's a whole chapter on how to fall in love with hard work. There's another chapter of not only falling in love with hard work, but what are the systems you use to maximize your mind, body, and emotion every single day. So there's stuff we talk about on creating emotional rocket fuel, how to create this mental, emotional, and physical rocket fuel that literally drives you to action every day so that you can keep the intensity. And I don't know if anyone relates, but there's times when you start a project, it's really exciting, you're all pumped up, and it's like, let's say a 6-month project, and about 3 months in, you're like, what the hell am I doing with my life?
Yes.
Why am I doing this?
Busted. Yeah.
Everyone has those moments. So the chapter on emotional rocket fuel right then and there is the most valuable thing you can get your hands on, because it literally shows you how to fill back up, fuel back up, and boom, focus right back in on what it takes to excel all the way through the finish line with ease. There's another chapter on automating your motivation. So there's times when all of us wake up and some days we feel totally passionate and alive, and other days we feel totally dull and out. And I give you very simple steps you can do first thing in the morning to instantly activate your mind, body, and emotions and bring yourself to life. Now, it's fascinating. We were training just last month, the month before, we were training the 24th SAO, which is the Special Operations Unit of the United States Air Force. Wow. And these guys are the most elite human beings you could cross paths with, because they have to be tough enough, strong enough to fight like Navy SEALs and Army Rangers, yet smart enough to be a full-blown surgeon in the middle of a firefight when stuff's blowing up and stuff, they're being shot at, and they can totally, out of their backpack, do full surgery on someone who's injured. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And so I was with these guys.
And you're training them.
Yeah.
No
Tell
pressure.
me about it. So
if you're wondering if Jairek is the real deal, yeah, I would say, he's walking in the middle of 0 Dark 30 and showing, what's what. But go on. This is great.
So out of respect for these guys, I mean, they're the best at what they do. And they call me and tell me to talk to them about performance. I'm like, please.
Yeah.
Well, that's like walking me in the Olympic Stadium and saying, tell these athletes how to perform better. I'm like, are you joking? They're the best on earth at what they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so my thought, though, is everyone has something they could do better in.
Yeah.
So I sat down with these guys and I listened to them, and I spent 2 days, and they put me through all the, not all of it, but much of the training. They threw me in the pool, taught me drown proofing, where they tie your hands and feet and teach you how not to drown in the water.
Oh my gosh.
They let me, shoot all the cool guns and stuff and showed me how they use them and when they use them and why. They walked us through all the different stuff. They walked us through the medical units and showed us how they practice teaching them how to be surgeons in the field and how they practice. They walked us through the, air traffic control and how these guys learn how to, via a walkie-talkie and a notepad, how they can land hundreds of planes on a dirt airship that they put together at midnight. It's amazing. Wow. Amazing. And so out of everything I spent time with them, there's little tiny tweaks here and there for individuals I could see that I helped and I shared with them and it was useful. But then the end result was they all knew how to step up, turn on, and perform at the highest level.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't a problem. What they were missing, like many, 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 entrepreneurs who are top notch, the best at what they do, who are totally kicking butt at life, what they were missing was the ability to turn off work and tune back into family, to be 100% present for the people that matter to them most. Because what happens is, even though they physically come home after a shift, their mind's still thinking about the 20 emails. They're emotionally still engaged in the negotiation. They're physically standing next to their wife and kids or husband and kids, but they're mentally and emotionally, miles away. And so I started practicing with them routines on how to become more present and how to have a routine that when you leave work, winds you down, clears out your mind mentally, emotionally, physically, de-stresses you, and gets you to a point that when you walk in the door, the most important mission of your life of loving and caring for the ones you love, you're present. You're there. You have goals. You have an outcome for when you get home of what you want to accomplish with the ones you love, how you want to show up for the ones you care about, how you want to be there, the questions you want to ask, the conversations you want to start, the moments you want to create. Just as important as the business meeting or negotiation at the office. And so we gave them very simple outlines and ways to help them do that, because here's the key. If they can perform better at home, they get more support. If they get more support, they perform better at work. And it's a cycle that continues. And so these are the things we look for, is even the best of the best on earth. We look for what's the way we can help even them improve. And we find a way to bring that to life for them.
I love this, man. Excuse me, I'm getting all emotional. But here's the thing, man. I love what Jairek said for everybody listening. No matter who you are, you have something you can bring of value to others. Even if they seem like they have it all together, it could be your vulnerability. It could be your honesty. It could be your expertise in just a small little segment of their business that they need help with, payment processing, whatever it is. So take that to heart for those of you listening. I just love, man, I could listen to you all day, but I know you got Navy SEALs to coach and whatnot. So let's do this, Jairek. What I want to do, tell our listeners, our readers, everybody else, how we can work with you, how we can, find your products and services, and what the best ways are to partner up with you and your team.
Wonderful. There's, I'd say, 3 resources for you. Number 1, if you're looking for the simplicity and you want some free content, we deliver a blog every single week on performance, insight, psychology. It's just JarekRobbins.com. That's our main website. Click blog. It'll bring you right to it. Also, tons of free gifts on there, tons of free content. If you like what we talked about on the book and the brief summary on the book, chapter 1 is how to design your absolute perfect day. Chapters 2 through 11 is how to turn that day into reality based on my experience and thousands of clients over the last decade of working and helping them to do so. And chapter 12 is if you've done it for one day, now let's help expand into a 5, 10, 20-year vision for your life and use the exact same tools to make that a reality. So if you're looking for that book, it's called Live It, Achieve Success by Living with Purpose. You can buy it on Amazon. You can go to liveitbook.com. Has all the stuff there and great endorsements from Deepak and Brian Tracy and all the other guys. So great work there. The final piece is if you're a manager, entrepreneur, or leader of other people and you're looking for better tools to manage and communicate with your team, you can go to performancecoachuniversity.com. And that's our newest training program for managers, entrepreneurs, and leaders to help them better manage and lead their team and increase the performance of the individuals they work with.
Wow, man, great stuff. I love that you have resources for people at different stages. I think that's so critical to be able to say, I right now want to dip a toe in, I want to check this out, or I know I need help. Thank God I found this guy. Let's go. So that's fantastic. Jairek, I want to thank you so much for being on the podcast. It was a pleasure having you on. It's just a great advice. Any parting thoughts you want to give before I let you get back to your life for the audience, for the small business owner, the entrepreneur? Any takeaways you want to leave them with?
Here's my message and my hope. Every single person who's listening into this, I hope you are passionately on fire about going out and learning what it takes to live the life of your dreams, how to be the happiest, healthiest, and most fulfilled version of yourself. Number two, I hope you live it ferociously, whatever it is you learn. You practice it, you walk it, you eat it, sleep it, breathe it to the point where it is part of who you are and everyone around you can clearly see that, not by the way your mouth moves, but the way your feet move. And if you live it so ferociously and you figure out what works and it works for you and you love it, my hope finally is you pay it forward and you give it. You find a way to share what worked for you with others, not as a guide to tell them what to do, as an option for them to see and go, hey, if it works, that might work for me. Let me try it on for size and see if it's the right fit. And I summarize that message really simply: learn it, live it, give it.
Dude, I can't beat that. Thank you so much for being on, Jairek. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, wow, right? Aren't you fired up to go out and get some results, whether it's on LinkedIn, with your career, with if you do coaching, consulting, anything like that? I want to thank Jairek Robbins so much for being on, for bringing such passion, such insight to the interview today. Definitely check out all his stuff on LinkedIn and also at JarekRobbins.com. And I will see you on the next episode of LinkedIn Riches. Thanks for listening.